I did want to ask you, Dr. Chen, about um, to speak about um, the state of being alone. We received several questions during the registration about being single and enduring this whole summer without really dating. And I know there's like a whole industry of online dating during the pandemic now. Everything is virtual, et cetera. But that came up several times about being single, being alone, it's summer's over, et cetera. How do I not feel lonely? When did being single or the state of being alone get cast in such a negative way? It's not always a negative thing. And I think that that's
Mm.
something that probably needs to be stated so that there is so that people know that sometimes being single is normal.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I think there is this societal perception of like whether you're single romantically or you are just all by yourself. Even if you're like all by yourself walking down the street, all by yourself like at a library, all you're by yourself at a restaurant. It can there's sort of like a societal like sort of like feel of like ooh, um, and I think that there is generally more of a perception with the individual who is on their own than a perception of like everybody around them that like there's something wrong with you for being alone. That I don't think about my single friends as being like losers or anything of the sort. I just like wish they could like find somebody and I want to help them find somebody, but there's not that like, ooh, there's something wrong with you. Like that's not how I feel about them, even though that's how they feel about themselves often. And so just recognizing that some of it is like you in your own head sort of like overblowing it. I definitely have times when I go to a restaurant, I'm all by myself and I think like, are all these people looking at me? Nobody's looking at me. Everyone's doing their thing.
Exactly.
like playing cool. I'm like on my phone or I'm doing like something to like stay busy or like trying to like look sad. But I'm like, is the waiter thinking about this? Like nobody's thinking about it. I'm just another person who's there. So sometimes there's that piece. But I also think that there is that we do have this misconception that we need to be around other people all the time. And some of that is from like pop culture. Like how many advertisements do you see where like somebody buys a brand new car and they drive home to their house where they live by themselves and they like saunter in their house and they're happy? No, they have some like family and they're like jumping up and down and they're like, that's how you like enjoy the car, right? How do you enjoy like a Coke? You're around a whole lot of people. You're at a stadium. You're around like you're always around people. But like most of us, we don't. That's not necessarily always our happy time. Some of us like that moment of like me and my Coke and nobody else.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think there needs to be a whole shift in how we sort of like recognize that like solitude is critical to our well-being. And that's great. If somebody is like enjoying a walk all by themselves, like go them. Right? I think if you are single, that doesn't and you want to be like with somebody, and like I remember those days so vividly. my person. So many nights.
Yes.
So like, where's my guy?
Where's my friends?
Like that, like it is something that you feel, and like you're like, I don't want to minimize it because like I remember how like hard that was. But recognizing that that's not all that you are. That there is so much else to you. I think like I feel like I've just anecdotally so many people that I know who are like, that's it, I'm gonna stop looking, and then next week they meet the person. Because it's not like all over their head and they're not like so reading into every little interaction, or maybe it's just serendipity and it's just like what happened. But to like go ahead and just like live your life and enjoy your life and do the things that bring you joy, and what fate brings to you will bring to you, but to like not let it consume you, because that just makes it harder to step out and like meet people and sort of find your way. I'm sort of being alone. One of the happiest people I know is my aunt, who's like 90. And she's been, my uncle passed away many years ago after a long battle with colon cancer. and she's so happy. She doesn't need like another person in her house. She's like happy as a clam, and she was happy then, but like now she has a whole different life, and she's like she's hanging out with her friends, and she's like,
Wow.
you know, she's like living her life. And I'm like, wow, she doesn't need to have like a whatever, like a winter romance.
Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah.
And like people, like you can be good if you decide that like I don't want to be with somebody else. I just want to be me and do me for the rest of my life. Like that's good too. You have friends, you have family, you have people who love you, and that's good too.